Hey, InnerPower entrepreneurs, I'm your host, Dr. Amanda, and you're in the right place if you're a coach, entrepreneur, or service-based business owner who's ready to learn law of attraction strategies that will help you manifest rapid business growth. And in our Friday episodes, I answer questions that come from our members of our InnerPower Entrepreneur Facebook group. So if you want to ask me a question, hop on over to the InnerPower Entrepreneur Facebook group, ask your question, and I will respond on the show. Today we have an awesome question from Steve, who asks, what is the link between quantum physics and the law of attraction? And let me dive in even a little bit more to his question. When I got it, I said, we've got to answer this on the podcast. I could easily do a full day workshop on this. And so answering it in the next 10-ish minutes is going to be incredible. So he says, good morning, Dr. Amanda. I was listening to a podcast you did on the first 2 chapters of Think and Grow Rich. I stopped in my tracks when you mentioned quantum physics because it seems you've mentioned this a few times in recent podcasts. My very limited understanding of quantum physics leads me to believe that it can explain some of the quote-unquote strange interactions we see between people and the universe creation. I also think some of the miracles the Bible talks about can be explained via quantum physics. I gather you think there is some sort of connection between the law of attraction and quantum physics. Do you have a podcast or paper where you could go into detail about how you think these things are tied together? I'd be interested in learning more about your thoughts on this. So I love this question because it's such a powerful question in terms of thinking about all things quantum physics and the law of attraction. So first, I want to start with this. Albert Einstein said, everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy, it's physics. And so today I want to break this quote down. If everything is energy and you match the frequency to it, how then does that create your reality? That's law of attraction, right? Turning thoughts into things. And so when we're thinking about building our businesses, we want to get aligned in our frequency so we can attract success our way. So quantum physics in its simplest terms is a branch of science that deals with the tiniest particles of the universe. So you're thinking about atoms, subatomic particles, photons, electrons, and quarks, and the way that they form the basis for all the matter around us. So everything that has material form is based on these smaller parts. And quantum physics tells us that reality is far beyond what our senses perceive. So there's a lot more going on in the energetic field than we can see with our eyes. And particles can be in multiple places at once until observed, and they can leap into existence from nothingness. I think this is so cool about how you think of the interactive effect of your thoughts turning into things, because you're organizing particles through your collective thoughts. So let's dig in a little bit more. And let's think about the concept of humans having a frequency. So remember, Albert Einstein said, match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. So what he's talking about is a principle that's rooted in quantum physics. So let's think about atoms, for instance. They're the building blocks of life. And atoms are energy, and energy is frequency. So all you need to remember is atoms are energy and energy is frequency. And humans at their most basic level then are frequencies because we're made up of atoms. And we can measure our human frequencies now through tools. And the way that we do that is through our thoughts, our feelings, and emotions. And we've determined that every thought or emotion vibrates at a specific frequency. High frequency emotions like love and joy and gratitude resonate at a higher vibration, and so they attract positivity. Whereas low frequency emotions like fear, anger, guilt, shame, stress vibrate at lower frequencies, so they attract negativity. So think about it in this way, that your emotional state is what determines your frequency, and then your frequency matches the vibrational frequency of the quantum field, and that's what gets attracted back to you. So now let's break down the quantum field. The quantum field is really a fundamental concept of quantum physics, and it's often described as the fabric of the universe. So think of it as this infinite, omnipresent field of energy that exists everywhere. It's kind of like the ocean, and each wave represents a particle. So it's an ocean of energy that exists everywhere. It's the quantum field, and it exists through particles vibrating, waves vibrating in this field. And so the quantum field is crucial in the role of the law of attraction because the field is responding to your thoughts, your emotions, and your intentions. And that's how you manifest things into your reality. So think about it this way. The quantum field is there with all the particles, the waves, the energy. It's holding this vibrational state, and anything that matches it can then bring back what's coming from the field. And so there are infinite possibilities of what you can create in the field. It's based on how you think and feel what's going to get matched and brought back to you in material form. And this has to do with the observer effect. So in quantum physics, the act of observing something changes its behavior. So really think about that. When you observe something, then the behavior changes. So it could just be neutral, but then when you observe it, it changes its behavior. So your thoughts and emotions impact the energy field and influence outcomes. And that's how the law of attraction works, to have your thoughts become things. So just imagine in this field, there are infinite possibilities, and here you come to connect with the field, which you're always connected, and whatever your conscious and subconscious thoughts are going to connect you to that field of energy, the quantum field. And so let's say you decide today, I choose to be magnetic to money, and I'm going to get aligned in my vibrational frequency, which means I'm going to have inspiration and high vibes feelings about this. And I'm going to decide to put those into the field. I'm going to take action in the direction to attract money my way. Well, now the field is going to respond because your observer effect is putting intention into the energetic field of high vibe money magnetism. Now you can turn that thought into a thing. The reason that this usually doesn't happen for people is because they have competing commitments or conflict within their being where it's competing against itself. And they think what they're putting into the field is, oh, I want this money. But what they're really putting into the field is their energy of fear and doubt about it. And that's just one example. So that's how thoughts become things. When you think about what quantum physics is, it really, you could think about the smallest particles. We are made of those small particles. So in the energetic field, when we match the frequency of whatever it is we're choosing to create, that's what comes back to us. So we match the frequency of the reality we want, and we cannot help but get that reality because everything is energy. And the quantum field is just a state of energy that you can tap into to consciously and deliberately create your reality. Otherwise, you're just a default creator, because it's not that the quantum field isn't there. If you're not aware of it, it's always going to be existing. So whatever frequency you're matched at, it's going to attract back your way. So now just for a minute, let's dig into this question where Steve asked, about quote unquote strange interactions between people and creation. What he's talking about there is quantum entanglement. So in quantum entanglement, particles can communicate instantaneously regardless of the distance. This is wild. So spooky action at a distance. Albert Einstein talked about this, and it's two particles separated by vast distances, yet they communicate and influence each other's state instantly. This is wild. So Einstein actually thought this is preposterous because it defied the speed limit set by light, because it didn't make sense that they could interact simultaneously. And this is wild because they have proven this to be true. They've actually taken particles and separated and kept one on Earth, taken one into space, and stimulated one, and the other one reacts instantaneously. So freaking cool to think about. So that's quantum entanglement. That's how, particles communicate instantaneously regardless of distance. And I think about this sometimes as like, oh, you think about your mom and she calls you right then and you're thinking, whoa, I was just thinking about you. That's quantum entanglement. And so we are entangled with beings in the quantum field, and this is happening through quantum physics and law of attraction. And this is how you start to consider how to create your reality. So That was a little bit of a crash course on quantum physics and the law of attraction. You might want to listen to that one a few times and consider how today you can up-level your vibrational frequency to get in the highest vibrational state to put that energy into the quantum field and attract that reality back to you. That's how law of attraction works. And if you want to be a deliberate creator of your reality, then your first job each and every day is to align your energy with that which you choose to create. That's why everything I create in InnerPower Daily helps you get aligned first and foremost, because it makes everything else you do easier. Oh, so cool. Okay. Thank you for the amazing question, Steve. And for those of you listening, if you want to ask a question, come join me in the Facebook group. So just go to InnerPower Entrepreneur Facebook group. The link is in the show notes as well. Join us there, ask your questions, and I'll answer them on the podcast. Until next time, I'm sending you love and light into the quantum field. I'm sending you hugs and InnerPower high fives. See you on the next episode.